It's a great pleasure to be here among you all, even if only virtually, and to add my voice to the tributes that have already been paid to the hard work that's been done by you, Lee, personally, supported by Daniel and Ben and the rest of the team. The work that you're doing is absolutely outstanding, and for reasons that I'll explain in a moment, I think is now more crucial than ever. We are now almost 7 years since that referendum, that historic referendum when the people of this country took the step that they were told not to take, that we were told they never would take, and that is to decide to leave the European Union. And speaking personally, I can say that that was the proudest political moment of my life. And I was immensely proud of the people of this country who decided that despite what they were told about the perils of Brexit, that's what they wanted anyway. And it's perhaps a shame that after the years of negotiation, after that historic general election of 2019, that we were almost immediately plunged into the crisis of the COVID pandemic. Nevertheless, I feel that that pandemic actually showed what this country can do as an independent nation, rather than as part of the monolithic, sclerotic bloc that is the European Union. We developed a vaccine, the AstraZeneca vaccine, in double quick time. We were the first to roll out a program of vaccination, and we did it in the teeth of the most appalling opposition from the European Union, who tried, if you recall, to sue AstraZeneca for supplying the vaccines to us, and indeed went so far as to invoke the famous Article 16 to prevent Northern Ireland from receiving the vaccine. They thought better of it pretty quickly, but nevertheless, they showed that they were not beyond doing just that. So I think that the pandemic, paradoxically, painful as it was, actually showed what we can do as an independent country. And I believe we led the rest of the world in our response. And then shortly after that, of course, we had a further crisis, the crisis of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And again, it was the United Kingdom, I believe, that led the world in galvanizing opposition to Vladimir Putin's aggression, to putting in place arrangements to help the Ukrainian people in their struggle against Putin. And I know from discussions that I've had with Ukrainian friends that the role that the United Kingdom played and continues to play as part of that process is immensely welcome to the brave people of that country. And in terms of trade, we have seen what we can do as an independent country. New free trade agreements with New Zealand, with Japan, and with Australia. Negotiations continuing at the moment with India and the Gulf Cooperation Council. And most exciting of all, the prospect of acceding to the CPTPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a dynamic organization of some of the most exciting economic countries in the world, and I believe a part of the world that shows how it can be done, that in order to have free trade, you don't have to subsume your country to an unelected bureaucracy overseas. And again, we have seen Britain re-emerging as a potent military power. We saw that carrier group going through the Taiwan Straits. We saw the immense scoop of AUKUS, whereby the Australians decided quite properly that their future lay with the Anglophone nations of the United States and the United Kingdom, ditched a deal that they had with France for the supply of submarines and entered into a £76 billion plus contract with the UK for the design of a new nuclear submarine fleet. So everything I'm telling you now, I believe, is an indication of why we were right to vote to leave the European Union. But if you were to listen to the unelected, self-appointed elite of this country, one might think that Brexit had been nothing but an unmitigated disaster. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Financial Times. I'm talking about the Gina Millers. I'm talking about the Gary Linekers of this world. All these people, all of them, are in deep mourning for the lost joys of a Juncker-run European Union. They can't bear the thought of an independent, outward-looking, world-beating United Kingdom. And that's why, may I say, Lee, the work of the campaign for an independent Britain, the work for Facts for EU, the work for all your affiliates is so absolutely crucial. The work you do is outstanding. You've had scoop after scoop pointing out that the UK is doing pretty well, thank you, and there is more to do. That's not to say that things could not be improved. I'm delighted to see that Julian Jessup is among the audience here today. And I'm sure that Julian would agree with me that it was an unfortunate misstep on the part of the Chancellor when he decided to increase the corporation tax rate from 19% to 25%, with the consequence that important companies such as AstraZeneca, a British company, have decided not to build their new factory in the UK, but rather to look to Ireland, where the corporation tax rate is considerably lower. We've got the budget, of course, next week. And I believe that that corporation tax rate should come right down. And in fact, I was interested today to see that the National Institute for Economic and Social Research have estimated that we have about £166 billion worth of fiscal headroom that we could throw at reducing that rate of corporation tax. And I very much hope that the Chancellor will seize that opportunity and will come up with a growth-promoting budget next week. But all in all, yes, of course, things are not perfect, but things never are perfect. But speaking for myself, I do regard it as a considerable improvement on being a member state of that monolithic bureaucracy to be in charge of our own destiny, in charge of our own future. And if we do make mistakes, then at least they are our mistakes made by our elected representatives and not by faceless bureaucrats in Brussels. So I believe that we've got a lot to look forward to. And I believe that the role of CIBUK, I believe that the role of Facts for EU and all your affiliates is going to be crucial in that process. It's a great delight to be here this evening. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I do hope, and I'm sure you will, go from strength to strength.